We got two legitimate questions and two fake narratives that I want to address swiftly and accordingly, and just put a couple of them to bed, if we may. This might honestly be the quickest live of all time too, because I'm so tired, man. I still trying to recover from the 3 a.m. I haven't slept with everything that's ensued the last 48 hours or so. Starting to hurt a little bit. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. George Pickens and Dak Prescott. Let's start with the two legitimate questions. Get these out the way. Obviously, fans rightfully concerned or curious about how George Pickens fits. Nix and I touched on this last night. Some of you may have already heard me say this, but like I mentioned, I wanted to make sure that these things were addressed accordingly and swiftly, and then the other two things were put to bed. And by the way, I'm Lando from the Lando Show, and this is Sports Below the Surface.
I am inevitable.
It's where here it's my job to objectively and creatively convey the truth to you guys. Okay, that's always the number one objective. I just wanted to make sure that I made that clear because I feel like I don't state that nearly enough. Pickens' character, concerns, or questions. How does he fit? The answer, in its simplest form, circumstances considered, is you create the foundation. There goes my camera. Do it this way. You create the foundation of your culture so that when you inevitably have one of the 53 or otherwise that slips up, and I'm not, once again, pointing the finger straight at George Pickens here. I'm not directly addressing him. Okay. You can't have 53 choir boys, if you will, right? You have to have tone setters. Okay. So point being, everybody has their place. Wrote about this earlier today on CowboysCountry.com. George Pickens will be like the Cowboys' Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman. Enforcer, tone setter. Those things are important. But you have enough of the foundation, which is relationships, a culture founded on relationships with an emphasis on getting to know the person behind the player. You have enough of that to sustain the kinks and the cracks and the things, the appliances in the house that break down, the window that gets shattered, the carpet that needs replaced, the grass that needs mowed, the light bulb that needs replaced. Got to repaint. Got to repaint the living room. You can do all of those things if your foundation is stable. But it's also important to understand, guys. It's a trifecta of checkpoints with what Shoddy really prefers and prioritizes. No particular order, even though we know which one comes first. Character, physicality, and how much do you love it? How much do you love football? We can say unequivocally, unquestionably, George Pickens checks at least two of those boxes. Minimum. George Pickens epitomizes the opposite of the way that the Cowboys have lost their most significant and devastating games within the last half decade. He's not the one that's getting bullied. He's the one that's doing the bullying. You need a little bit more of that. Can't tell you how many times I've written, spoken about that very topic right there. The second is the contract situation. Once again, posted on Instagram and TikTok. I'm doing a lot of short form work over there too. You guys know that. I really wanted to reemphasize this point about the built-in fail-safes. Okay, the foundational fail-safe is the first one that we just talked about with the culture. How does he fit in the locker room? That type of thing. You know what? Before we transition into fail-safe number 2, let me just make sure and clarify some of the things about George Pickens that I haven't seen a ton of people mention. It's like, we all sort of have this groupthink understanding of, hey, he's kind of a guy that you got to watch out for a little bit. Kind of a guy that sometimes loses track of his temper or doesn't handle his emotions very well. So that's, once again, that's casting a wide net. Let's talk about specifics. What are people referring to? Where does this come from? Arriving late before a Christmas Day game. You have examples of fighting teammates in practice. Not necessarily an indictment. I'm just giving you guys I'm giving you specific examples of what Steelers brass, Steelers coaching staff, Steelers players, those, Steelers media will tell you. Tantrums was the word that was used at times on the sidelines if things weren't going his way. Drawing unnecessary, unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and getting himself fined for various different reasons. He's 24 years old. He's not perfect. None of us are. And what he has done in his past does not necessarily define him. A coming of age can happen, but make sure that you consider a set of circumstances for a guy that we know and his teammates will admit to you too. By the way, this is a guy that was very well liked within the locker room. Just do a little bit of research. It doesn't take that much time. You can very easily find plenty of samples of contextual evidence supporting that claim. Think about a guy who wants to win as badly as George Pickens does, what he has had to deal with on a day-to-day basis when he knows he is a superstar receiver. But he doesn't know if and when the football will be thrown accurately in his direction on any given Sunday. Very reasonable to be frustrated. Not reasonable at times to conduct yourself in the manner in which he does. I'm sure he would admit that those are things that he needs to work on. But very reasonable, very understandable. Kenny Pickett, and this is a transition right into the next fake take, exposing 2 fake narratives that are floating around. I don't know why. I guess people just like to. We'll go through it. Okay, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, and yes, even Russell Wilson are not Dak Prescott. Okay, now for the 2 fake narratives, like I said, seamless transition. And I'll get to the comments in a second. I know I haven't looked at those yet, but thank you all for being here. 131 in the house right now. If you appreciate the objective, below the surface truth being reported in as creative and palatable of a way as possible. Sometimes too long-winded, I'll admit. I know. But if you appreciate this, then the only thing that I ask of you is to like this video. That's the cheapest and the best way to support the continued growth of this channel. We're pushing towards 5K right now on YouTube. That'll be the first official milestone, and I'm really excited about checking that one off the list. We're working, man. 3 a.m. last night. Going to be pushing 1 a.m. again tonight. Got a wedding to drive to for one of my blood brothers, my best friends, my college baseball buddy that I actually haven't seen in quite some time. Really excited for, but the work will continue. Just don't worry about that. Let's get a little bit of music up in here. So let's up the mood. This is still a fantastic day. Let's not lose sight of that. Make sure that's not too much. George Pickens can't separate. I humbly and respectfully disagree. Why this narrative is being floated, I don't know. Where it comes from, I don't know. But Foot's the King, I put it in my article because it was just perfect. It's nothing more needs to be said. In some instances, stats, graphs, and charts really do all the talking for you. And that is the case yet again here. And for the second example that I'm getting ready to illustrate to you guys. Not necessary anymore. Sorry. Let's check out Foot's the King. Let's just do it this way. I guess I didn't save it. I thought I saved it. Clearly I did not. I just responded. There we go. We don't have to overthink George Pickens, ladies and gentlemen. Separation and culture, just word salad. Pickens was brought in to win downfield and beat man coverage. 2024 yards per route, 15.3. Okay, just take a peek. Over here on the x-axis, we've got raw man separation. So the further right you are, the better you are at generating separation. And then on the y-axis, we've got yards per route run versus man coverage. In other words, how good are you against defeating man coverage? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at this list and just know, or just very easily see, that only 2 men in 2024 defeated man coverage more effectively than George Pickens did. That was Justin Jefferson and Jamison Williams. And I would even argue that second one right there, Jamison Williams, that was very scheme specific in a lot of ways. He benefited from a much better system and much better weaponry around him. But I will digress there. It's not worth any other wasted energy in that regard. I'm not lobbying for George Pickens to be number one in every category. I'm just simply stating the facts here. I'm giving you guys visual contextual evidence, courtesy of Foot's the King. And I guess this is a PFF chart, so I guess they also deserve a little bit of credit here too. But Foot's brought it to my attention. It's pretty powerful right there, okay? As you guys will see soon in an article that's getting ready to drop, it'll be released tomorrow morning. I wanted to make clear that George Pickens is a superstar, All right. And just in case that hasn't been said enough today. All right. For some reason, I think it's not popular to say that though out loud just because he sometimes just lets his emotions get the best of him. Right. Like for that reason alone, it's just not popular to say he's a superstar. For those who are aware of his talent, for those who are unaware of his talent, it's because of the situation that he was in. And that's gonna be the final point that we address. That's fake narrative number 2 regarding the quarterback. He's a superstar, ladies and gentlemen. But it's not fair to pretend that he's not just because you don't like the way that he conducts himself. Not one of the other points, or I guess the talking points against him from his time in Pittsburgh was that he was usually unwilling to speak with the media. He's not the only one. There's many guys that are the exact same way. I can promise you that. Whether they're uncomfortable in front of the mic or the camera, whether they're just completely have no interest because they're that focused on football and winning. They don't have any interest. Some of them are less resistant than others. But just know he's not alone in that regard, right? But just because he lets his emotions get the best of him, we can't call him a true wide receiver number 1. In Dallas, he's not alpha necessarily, but there are things that he does better than CeeDee Lamb. And that's completely fair to say. And you know what? In the same breath, I'll also mention, yes, CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 receiver in this league. I don't think that's not a hot take. That's verifiable. But George Pickens is at worst a 1B. Okay? He can't separate. To build off of Foots' chart that we discussed just a few minutes ago, his average, I went through and looked this up on NFL Pro. And you can find everybody that you want, but I've just got 3 specific examples here. Pickens averages 2.3 yards of separation per route run, which, once again, for context, is right there with the likes of A.J. Brown, who is 0.2 yards less of separation per route run than George Pickens at 2.1. T. Higgins at 2.4. Terry McLaurin at 2.7. But George Pickens can't separate. Must just be because he's a Dallas Cowboy. The last thing that we need to say about that is he separates just fine. And he's also amongst the best in the business with his body contortion and catch radius too, on top of that. So, in other words, even when he's not open, he's open. Yeah! So, the next one and the last thing that we're going to touch on in closing. Get up out of here. Get some night-night. Dak Prescott offers no significant upgrade for George Pickens compared to his previous quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. Wrong red button. My apologies. Anybody saying that, I've created 3 subsets of categories here for those individuals making that claim. And please, somebody in the chat box, stop me if I'm being unfair. Actually, speaking of which, that reminds me I need to come and check and see what you guys are talking about in here. I just realized I never even finished the second legitimate question. We'll get back to that. The contract. It's late. Haven't slept much. Throw me a bone here. All right, y'all. We're gonna bang it out. Here we go. The three subsets of categories are the folks making the claim that Dak Prescott is not a major upgrade compared to any other quarterback that George Pickens has had the pleasure of playing with. You know, that's the take that it's getting clicks, right? But not necessarily respect, and it shouldn't get respect. But I venture to say, once again, stop me if I'm wrong, even the people saying those things probably know better. They just do it anyway. They just say it just to say it, to generate a reaction, right? Those people, I would argue, are either blissfully naive. This is the three subsets of categories, okay? You're either blissfully naive, willfully ignorant, or you're just allergic to evidence altogether. One of those three things, if you're making that claim. Okay. Russell Wilson specifically. So once again, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson. These are the names we're referring to here. Russell Wilson specifically is also more than capable as a player, but his biggest limitation at this stage of his career is his unwillingness to challenge the deep middle of the field, guys. A graph here from my guy Ray GQ, who we've been actually trying to coordinate and link up with together. So just so it was fitting that his chart was the exact reference point that I needed for contextual evidence. So thank you, Ray GQ. I'll try to clip this to you. Somebody actually, if somebody do me a favor, if you guys could, do me a solid here, since it's late and I'm tired. We're all tired, I'm sure. Some of y'all working, trying to get through a night shift. And Salam, if you're watching, dude, I can't thank you enough, man, for all the support. Ray GQ, just at him for me and just say, give him the timestamp of the live and just say, hey, check the Lando shows live and tell him that it's time to work, because I can't wait. I've been really looking forward to just having a discussion. I've been a guy who I just have immense amounts of respect for, and I'm excited to get his perspective and bring him onto the channel. But needless to say, his tweet was the exact reference point that I needed. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this heat map right here from Ray GQ at Ray RAYGQUE on Twitter. Somebody help me out, please. This heat map right here. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. Apparently, we got some we got some interesting stuff in the chat going on. I'll address that in a little bit too, if need be. I do need some mods, apparently. Yeah. Sadiqa looking out for me. I swear, she's my Twitter mom. She's letting me know I need to get some rest. Oh, man. Lord knows I do. Take a look at the chart. Can y'all still hear me okay? Yeah, Russell. I knew I was going to have this discussion. Okay, first and foremost, kid, throwing me off topic here. Kid Cowboy. We're talking about the guys who have thrown George Pickens the football. Anything Russell Wilson did prior to that point is completely irrelevant. And I would love to to disprove that as well, but I don't have the energy to waste on it right now. But you'll see it in my article tomorrow morning. That Super Bowl champion season for Russell Wilson featured the Legion of Boom, the league's number one defense, and a top 5 rushing attack. Dak has never taken those two things into the playoffs with him. Case closed. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, okay, for my guy Ray GQ. Look at their reception heat maps. This will work and probably will work very well for the Dallas Cowboys. You damn right it will, Ray. Look at the chart. Okay, and this is also the reference point, supportive evidence for where Russell Wilson falls short at this stage of his career, for those who need to hear me say that on top of making the generalized claim. Russell Wilson doesn't challenge the deep middle of the field. Dak Prescott thrives there. Processing, ability to access all parts of the field. They're 2 different tiers, guys. But that's it. That's all I'm gonna do for that, or on that topic. Now back to the contract, because I know you guys are concerned about this, and rightfully so. It's a fair question. Okay, we've discussed the 2 fake narratives here. Let me make sure I put a bow on it before we talk about the contract. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's some more for Kid Cowboy, or for anybody else who may need to hear it. I don't know if you do or don't. It's fine. If you can disagree with me, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm just giving you the objective truth and backing it with data and a little bit of analysis sprinkled in. Do with this information what you will. Okay, Dak's been a stabilizing presence in Dallas for nearly a decade, right? That's the whole point. The last time he participated fully healthy in a season with CeeDee Lamb as merely his lone top target, he was the MVP runner-up. Okay, but in the years before that, alongside that one, number 1 scoring offenses with multiple different coordinators and systems along the way in that decade. 1 sentence. That's it, guys. That's all you have to do to process. I don't care where you think Dak ranks. It doesn't matter. Just look at the facts. I don't need opinions. And now he finds himself paired once again with another alpha receiver whose skill set fits his strengths like a glove. Do you know who the number 1 quarterback in passing yards on 15-plus yard go routes or more is over the last 2 years? This is from Warren Sharp, by the way. I sent this to myself early this morning. I can tell you guys exactly when I sent it to myself, but I don't want to catch myself lying here. It was earlier today, 13 hours ago. Dak Prescott, last 2 years, number 1, passing yards on 15-plus yard go routes. Number 2, attempts on 15-plus yard go routes. George Pickens, the last 2 years, Number 1, most receiving yards on 15-plus yard go routes. Nobody's been better. Number 2, most catches on 15-plus yard go routes. Only one receiver has been better. I mean, you take this right here. You can see it now. It's on your screen. And then this heat map that we just looked at from Ray GQ. And tell me how this isn't a match made in heaven, a dynamic duo, if you will. This is going to be lightning in a bottle, man. Absolute lightning in a bottle. Now, put the finishing touches on it because people are going to continue to try and poke holes in this move. Despite everything that we just discussed, despite a few fake narratives, despite George Pickens being mostly misunderstood as far as who he is as a player based on the situation that he's been placed in his career. Once again, just goes to show you, y'all, be thankful. Because there's only a handful of teams, give or take, that wouldn't love to have Dak Prescott as their quarterback. Just stability is what it's critical. The single most difficult but also important position in all of sports. It's hard to find a good one. When you got a good one, you hang on to it. That's exactly right, Below. That's exactly right. It's exactly what this is. And I'll be honest, you know how I know this is a big deal? Because even national media, make sure y'all can see me when I say this. Even national media, largely, like the people who if I really want to just like seek out blatant Cowboys hate, even those people had glowing reviews and excitement. Like Good Morning Football this morning, they were like, we're all like on an emotional high. They were like, our week has been made. Even Kyle Brandt, who rarely ever has anything nice to say about the Cowboys, was like, dude, let's go. He goes, this is the most exciting thing that the Cowboys have done in a long time. They've been a boring team for the last 3 years. He's like, I'm genuinely excited about this. He should be. Should be. Kid Cowboy, you have no idea. I guess you're embodying your name, but the reputation that you project on yourself goes well beyond me being an idiot. We'll say it that way. Can you imagine hating somebody so much that you're got nothing better to do but at 12:41 in the morning to hop in the comment section of somebody who's talking about the guy that you hate so much and just spew a bunch of negativity? That's crazy. What are you doing? If it's that much of a joke, if I'm that much of an idiot, why are you here?
All right, yeah, get him the hell out of here, will you, please? Get him out of here. Throw him out.
This is hilarious. All right, anyways, the contract, okay? The built-in failsafe is that, first of all, I guess it's worth mentioning again, reiterating that I believe that this deal has been made with an extension in mind. There's no way it's not. I also believe that an extension will get done because I know how talented he is and I know how well he fits, how seamless of a transition it will be athletically, schematically, talent wise. The beauty in this whole thing, though, is once again, at the absolute worst, and yes, we know David Mulligetta is going to make it tough on him, on the Joneses, that is. Jerry Jones claimed not to know who he was. David absolutely took exception to that, and you know it's going to be a grind to get Micah and Pickens done. Pickens will obviously come later down the line. There's Micah is more pressing. Micah will get done first. Needless to say, the trade occurred with an extension in mind. Worst case scenario, David Mulligetta makes it tough. They can't come to an agreement. He wants more than the Cowboys feel like he deserves. He doesn't perform well enough to get what he's asking for. They elect to mutually part ways, enter free agency. Cowboys get a 2027 third round comp pick in all likelihood. So if nothing else, you're really just with the pick swaps on the back end, you're really just losing once again yet another fourth round pick. Is pretty much how it would kind of even out. That's pennies, man, for the type of talent that this kid is. Still only 24 years old. It's pennies. But it makes perfect sense. You know, people were kind of pushing back a little bit against what I said this morning that this is not a rental. This extension will get done. May not be imminent, but it's going to happen. Going to get done. And there's a piece that I think could have been easily overlooked or misinterpreted, right? When George Pickens says that he's not interested in a contract extension right now, and I'm paraphrasing, so keep that in mind. His direct quote, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the tune of not focused on the contract right now. Just want to focus on football and prove himself, prove his worth, you know, that type of thing. Which to me suggests like he's not here just looking for a handout. It's not another hashtag 53 brands thing where it's marketing first. Me over team. It ain't like that. He genuinely is that competitive. He genuinely is that talented, and he knows that he's going to prove it, right? So there's some ground to make up. Some off the field things cause him to slip a little bit in the draft. So, you know, instead of a first round contract with a 5th-year option, he's dealing with a second round contract. And so there's a little bit of financial ground to make up. He knows how talented he is. He knows that he's worthy of being somewhere in that $23 to $28 million range. I think the Cowboys would be willing to pay it. They have the ability to pay it, as we well know here, as everybody should know. The salary cap is very real in the future, tomorrow, next year, year after that. But it's not real today. The money is not an issue here for the Cowboys' sake, as far as the salary cap is concerned. And before you say, but Micah Parsons creates paying Micah Parsons today would give the Cowboys more financial flexibility this year. It does not cost. It creates money. Okay. Maybe George Pickens, you know, he's thinking, all right, I'm going to go prove it. I'm going to go earn it. To me, that's a great sign. A sign that a kid is not here. He's got something to prove. He's got something to prove. When you got a dude that does this, let me pull it up. I mean, y'all have seen the highlights. Y'all know what he's about. Oh, look at the Outlaw Cow. Shout out to Outlaw Cowboy. He put together a 8-minute long mashup of Pickens. There we go.
What is there is contact at the 28-yard line.
Well, thank you once again to Outlaw. I did it right there. Wait, you guys still can't see that. Hold up. My computer's bugging. It must be bedtime, huh?
Here they come. Fields protected near side. It's caught.
There we go.
Pickens.
20 cents.
The day today had scored just 3 touchdowns through the first 3 weeks and yet to score so far. Fields letting it rip, and he's got Pickens.
Out of things. That was in postseason. It matters the most.
Isaiah Oliver in the game because of the injury to Adams.
They do not solve.
Back to Pickens. 3 contested balls.
Third down and 4. Quick
you know another reason why?
Pass caught. Pickens.
Both sides of the football.
Steelers.
Okay. And another reason why?
And spinning
I mentioned it earlier.
Out of bounds.
For transcribing, tracking.
Second down and 8. Wilson sets.
It's a
moon ball, and it's caught by Pickens. And they
really
hit on a 36-yard pass play.
Just like one.
What a veteran route, because see that little subtle push-off. Wiggins does not get a jam at all, allows him to get a free release downfield. The safety tries to come over. Russell Wilson gets the ball out on time, throws it on a line. The safety late in coming over.
Any better, by the way, with after the Green Bay game, but it was about 3.2 yards per carry would have been bottom 6 in the entire National Football League in 2023. So, in other words, 25, 26 other teams. No, sorry. 26 other teams run the football more effectively than the Cowboys did in the playoffs that season. Angie, real quick, and thank you for the question. I think Schottenheimer's impact on this front office, this entire organization, has been profound. And just to give you guys a great place to start, I would seriously, highly recommend. And if this was a waste of your time, and if it is, you tell me, let me know. But I would not suggest this if I didn't feel that strongly about it. I feel like I have a great handle on this stuff. And if nobody's counting, nobody cares. But I do have a decent track record so far this offseason. And I believe that strongly in the things that I have written so far about Brian Schottenheimer with it's not just opinions, guys. It's verifiable evidence. Meta-analysis, tea leaves, and breadcrumbs. Angie, I promise you won't regret this if you read this right here. This article, it just because I put so much time into them, trying to swiftly sift through it to explain it to you when I'm this tired. It just does a disservice. It won't hit the same way, but I will show you exactly what to click on. And if you want, send me a DM so I don't forget, and I'll just send the link to you directly so you don't have to hunt it down. But this one right here, This was 3 days before the draft. Cowboys reveal their NFL draft puzzle and their number 1 draft trait. Right there, the top. So if you just, it's free. There's no paywall with cowboyscountry.com. If you just type my name in, first and last name, Landon Holyfield, and then Athlon Sports, it'll take you directly to my portfolio. But I promise you that's worth your time. And just, I'll be curious too. You said you're DMing me now? I got you. 1 second, yo. A little background music for us while we wait. Okay, I'm silly. What am I doing on my phone for? I got a Mac right here. That's how tired I am, guys. Come on now. Wake up. We're almost done here. About to wrap it up. This one. All right, copy, paste, done. I'm waiting for your DM. Let me know when it's sent, and I'll just I'll send it straight to you. Okay, cool. Good stuff. All right. Hopefully we're all clear on that. Any other questions that I need to get to before I got to bounce out of here? Oh, well, I guess that's the last thing, and that we'll close on this because I guess y'all see that, right? The whitelisted ads just gave it away, but let me minimize that tab. I do have an announcement coming shortly, but just needless to say, more details to come, right? This is we're still kind of in the early stages of negotiation or discussion. Great people, though, over at Justin Boots, and words can't express how excited I am to continue this journey with them alongside me. I just think the way that it came about, it was almost too good to be true. But it seems like it's a perfect fit for my audience, my 2 fan bases that I cater most directly to, with the core values of Justin Boots and the rich history and tradition of Texas. Just Texas in general, but sports obviously too. It's perfect. So I'm excited about I am. You're right. But on that note, because Twitter mom said so, I need to go get some rest. So that's what I'm going to do. Thank you guys so much for being here. All I ask is that you hit the like button and tell a friend where to find me. Okay? Be objective and creative. Sports below the surface truth for the true fan. I'm Lando from The Lando Show.
All right.
And this is Sports Below the Surface. Remember, prayer changes things and the war is already won.
I am inevitable.